Welcome to the Everything Embodiment Podcast, where I will help you find peace, understanding, and love all within your human body, enhancing your mind-body connection through the exploration of vast ideas, concepts, and modalities, discussions all meant to propel you along your own unique spiritual journey. I'm your host, Amber Miller.
Be honest with yourself. If you didn't care what they thought, what would you be doing right now? Would you dress differently? Say something out loud you've been holding in? Start the thing you keep thinking about but haven't dared to claim? This episode is for the version of you that's been performing, perfecting, and people-pleasing. Not because that's who you are, but because somewhere along the way, you were taught that that was safer. Welcome back to Everything Embodiment. I'm your host, Amber Miller, and today we're talking about the fear of judgment, the pressure to perform, and what's possible when you finally let your true self take the lead. The need to be liked, to be approved of, to not rock the boat, is so deeply wired into our subconscious and nervous system. At the core of your subconscious mind is one primary job: to keep you alive. It doesn't care if you're fulfilled or aligned or self-actualized. It cares that you're safe, and it defines safety by one primal measure: belonging. Because once upon a time, not metaphorically, but literally, if you were cast out of the group, the tribe, or the family unit, you wouldn't survive. You needed connection to stay protected, fed, and supported. So your nervous system learned to scan for threat, and your subconscious learned to adapt to approval. That means when you were a child and sensed disapproval, you shifted, because safety equals attachment. When you made people comfortable, you were praised. When you expressed a part of yourself that others didn't like and they pulled away, you learned to suppress. This is how the mask was born, not out of vanity, not out of weakness, but out of survival. And even now, when the actual threat is gone, your subconscious still tries to keep you safe the only way it knows how: by keeping you quiet, by keeping you small, and by keeping you liked. So let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just about modern day anxiety. Your subconscious is working with ancient code. Back when being rejected by the tribe meant death, your brain and body learned, if I'm different, I'm in danger. If I'm too loud, too weird, too big, I could be abandoned. So the mask wasn't your weakness, it was your protector. But you're not that helpless child anymore. You're not living in a cave depending on the tribe for firewood and safety. So you're allowed to belong to yourself now, and you're allowed to shift from survival to sovereignty. If you grew up in environments where love was conditional, or where you were praised for how well you behaved, how much you achieved, or how little trouble you caused, you became a shapeshifter. You learned to read the room before you ever spoke your truth. You edited yourself before you even knew what you wanted to say. This is what is called the performance trap. And so for so many of us, it becomes a survival strategy. But now, it's become a prison. You're not here to be palatable. You're here to be real. So let's talk about how this plays out. You feel called to start a podcast, open your business, share something on social media. But then comes in the loop. What will they think? Who does she think she is? What if I look cringy? What if nobody cares? Your voice, silenced. Your intuition, dismissed. Your truth, deferred until you feel safe, which, spoiler alert, never fully happens if that safety depends on others. And the wild thing is, half the time we're afraid of being judged by people who don't even really know us, people who don't pay our bills, people who might just be projecting their own limitations onto us. But that fear still feels real because it lives in the body. I want to give you something simple but powerful, a moment to reclaim your voice, not from your head, but from your body. If you're able, place one hand on your heart and one on your lower belly. Take a deep breath and ask, is this fear mine? Is this judgment real, or remembered? What would I do if I didn't need to be liked, approved of, or understood? Let your body answer, not your ego, not your fear. Let your body speak. This is embodiment. It's not just about tuning in, it's about trusting what you find there. I didn't grow up with a voice that was celebrated. In my family, when I spoke up, I was either ignored or ridiculed. It didn't feel safe to be expressive, let alone be myself. At school, wasn't much better. I still remember being a freshman in Algebra 1, and the teacher had said, feel free to ask questions anytime. So I did. I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to do the right thing. So I went to her after class, nervously trying to get help, and she looked at me and said, why are you asking me this? Are you stupid? That moment stuck. It planted a seed of self-doubt that turned into years of math anxiety. I carried that insecurity with me all the way into college until finally a professor saw me, really saw me. They reminded me I wasn't stupid, that I just needed support, that I deserved to take up space. That newfound confidence gave me the courage to major in science, but looking back, even that decision wasn't fully mine. It was rooted in fear, in proving I was smart, in choosing something hard so no one could question my worth. It was still masking, still performance. Fast forward to now. I've spent the last 15 years in laboratory medicine, 7 of those as a biochemist. On paper, it's stable, prestigious even, it's safe. The pay and benefits are what my coworkers call the golden cuffs. But I refuse to be held by the golden cuffs that cage my soul. Once I had my spiritual awakening, I couldn't unsee it. The way I had built entire identities from fear. The way I had made safe choices based on avoiding judgment, rejection, or failure. And it wasn't easy to admit, and it hasn't been easy to walk away. But I'm doing it. I'm healing and I'm integrating. And most importantly, I'm building a life that's finally mine. Because I no longer care what people think. You think I'm weird? I think building a whole life on fear and perception is weird. This is what it means to come home to yourself. So now I ask you, if you didn't care what they thought, what would you do? Write it down. Voice note it to yourself. Make it the background on your phone. Let that question lead you for the next week. Let it show you where you've been hiding and where you're ready to be seen. If this episode spoke to you, if you're feeling the call to stop performing, to finally trust your voice, and to step into the intuitive power that's always been yours, then I want to personally invite you into something I created from that exact same fire. It's called the Embodiment Energy and Intuition Certification, and it's an 8-week journey into healing, soul expression, and intuitive mastery. This isn't just a spiritual course. It's a full body return to who you are beneath the fear, the doubt, and the performance. You'll learn the foundations of intuitive energy healing, how to channel your unique gifts, how to use your astrological birth chart and human design to understand yourself as a healer, and how to create powerful aligned sessions for others without the need to follow rigid systems or outdated rules. Whether you're here to heal yourself or feel called to support others, this space was made for you. Enrollment is open now, and I'd love to walk beside you as you reclaim the parts of you that were never broken, just buried. The link is in the show notes, or head to everythingembodiment.com to join. Thank you so much for being here. Stay embodied, stay brave, and keep choosing you.